A lot of people do not know what their vaginas look like. A lot of women do not even like themselves. Hi everyone, it's Ibifubara here and I'm live on BellaNaija. Let's talk everything HPV, cervical cancer and women's health. First question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you know about HPV? I would say a solid 7. I've read a lot about HPV. I've had things done, like pap smears. I've gone to the hospital and had a lot of conversations with my health provider about HPV before getting the vaccine. And I like to do research, so I've read papers about it a bit. So yeah, I would say good knowledge. I would say 7 because I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm just a psychologist. So yeah, a solid 7. Second question, have you ever done HPV screening or a pap smear? Yes, I have done twice. Yes, I've done a pap smear twice. First time I did a pap smear random, I just wanted to check what was going on down there. And the second time was before I got my IUD done. I had to do a pap smear to check, what was going on there, and HPV screening too, when I was just getting checked generally. Yeah, I've done it, and I would say that all the times I've done all of these things were not scary, they're all pleasant, so I guess I've been lucky. What would you say to women who feel emotionally and mentally anxious about HPV screenings or pap smears? My advice all the time is to have a good conversation with your medical health, like your medical professional or practitioner before you get into it, just to get a feel of the kind of person that you're going to be doing it with. And I always recommend a kind person. The first time I got a pap smear done, I was about 18 years old. I have a mother that was very well informed about, HPV, pap smears and all of these things. And she's always talked about it and reproductive health in general from when I was a young, girl to when I was a teenager. So one time I think there was free screening somewhere, I think at church or something, and and they were like, okay, if you want to get checked, come here, women decide, younger women decide. And I was like, okay, it's a good opportunity too, which I always like to tell people, I mean, if it's free, why not? Might as well just walk and do it. So I was able to do it at that time, get checked. But the second time around, I wanted to get an IUD done, and then I was 26 years old when I did the second one. I was about 26 years old. And before inserting the ID, you have to get checked, do all of that, put it in. And again, being an adult and being sexually active means that, you don't know what's going on with another person, but you need to also be in a place where, I don't say protect yourself, but like you have to be in a place where, you are you're good when it comes to your sexual health. And I needed to take control of my sexual health, so I needed to get the vaccine done, and I did that before I got my birth control. So yeah, that was it for me. Both experiences were not painful. The first one, I said I did with a kind health practitioner, a nurse, and she was very gentle, walked me through it. The second time I did it with a midwife, also very gentle, and I asked so many questions because I was older, more informed about reproductive health, more informed about STIs, sexually transmitted infections, and it was a good process, right? I even filmed the second one, like not down there, but filmed like me up here, the process and how everything went. So yeah, that was it for me. How can women unlearn the shame and stigma associated with HPV, cervical cancer, and health-related issues generally? I would say because the shame itself and stigma, they're social constructs, meaning they were created by the society and just people around to make the whatever system it is shameful. I would say the first thing to do is unlearning the shame, and by unlearning it, knowledge has to be found. A lot of women do not even like themselves, first of all. Then And to like or to care about yourself and to care about your health, you need to love yourself enough to want to know about it. So getting to the point where in everyday conversations, from when a woman is a girl, right? Conversations around our bodies being talked about more, conversations around who we are and the things that can affect us, right, being talked about more. And it even starts from things like periods. Periods in the society hold so much shame where people cannot say, oh, they're stained, and they're like, why are you stained? Oh, you're doing this, you're doing this. People go and buy pads and they tie it strongly inside nylons like it's not a natural thing. I would say having conversations and having them in the way that one allows people to be knowledgeable of these things, right? And telling them in the way that these things are not shameful things, but they're actually natural things that happen to people. Then also when it comes to cancer, cervical cancer, HPV, talking about how accessible these things are and also even creating those channels of accessibility, right? Because a lot of women, if you tell them now, oh, do you know about HPV? Do you know about cervical cancer? Do you know how to get, the vaccine? One, they'll tell you, I don't know about that. Two, it'll be the barrier towards it. Before we not even talk about the shame of it all. So one, creating, more access to knowledge about these things. Two, reducing the barrier towards getting these vaccines. And the third one, just having more conversations about these things generally as women, as a group, but also involving every other member of the society. Because one thing about the way the society is structured, sometimes people hear when people they think are in authority are speaking to them more than when it's, people that they don't really think are in authority. And also secondly, even in educational systems, including them in I know there are reproductive health, conversations being had in secondary school, but not leaving it to just sex conversations, but also conversations beyond sex, but also the repercussions of sex and like HPV, you understand? And yeah, just having more conversations about them. As a psychologist, what's one emotional barrier you've noticed that holds women back from seeking preventive health care like cervical screenings? A lot of times, I think it still pulls back to shame. But another thing that you could also talk about is also emotional barrier, fear. Let me remove shame. I think fear is one big thing that's, is fear of the unknown. A lot of people are not too receptive of vaccinations. And as a woman, we know how delicate it can be, down there. And having something or having them, give you a vaccine, you don't know if you can have a side effect. So a lot of times people are afraid of getting the vaccine because of this. And also going to the hospital before you get the vaccine, you're also going to be checked. You don't know what the check can lead to or the results will be. Imagine you just go in there and you start with, oh, I just want to get a vaccine, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, we'll check you first. And from the check, you hear something like, oh, we're sorry, we saw blah, 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 or we're going to treat it, blah, blah, blah. People are just scared of that. People are scared of what the results will look like. And it's sad, but it's something that I think that we need to deal with, or we need to break barrier-wise generally, and also like push that it is better to actually go to the hospital and figure out what might be going on with you than not to, because this cervical cancer is also something that can be really, like, it's very, very treatable, especially if, HPV or something is caught fast, So fear is a very, very big barrier for women, or from what I've seen from women in general. In your work as a therapist, do you see a connection between how women feel about their bodies and how they treat their health? Definitely. Women, I think I said this earlier, women are not trained to love their bodies. A lot of women do not like themselves, love themselves, and in order for you to care about your body and take care of it properly, you need to love the body that you're in. Until we get to that place where we're teaching young girls to love their bodies and to understand their bodies. So one thing is to love it, another thing is to understand it, and another thing is to know your body, right? There's so much fear in allowing girls to know their bodies in the country that we're taking away they're taking away this knowledge without knowing. And it's in this knowledge that allows women to know that something is wrong or understand when something is going right. So when something is a little off, they're able to run to the hospital. A lot of people do not know what their vaginas look like. A lot of people do not know what it looks like, what it's supposed to smell like, what it's supposed to feel like. Sometimes when things are off, they keep it to themselves because of shame for so long before they eventually go when it's a little bit, later than normal. I remember the first time that I had a yeast infection, because I was the kind of person that was trained to I was trained with the knowledge of what a woman's body should feel like. Do you understand? I knew from like that day that something was off, and I was able to tell my mother and say, Mom, I think something is wrong. I want to go to the hospital and I want to see a doctor. And that's when I was able to understand that, oh, what was going on with me was a yeast infection, and this was what I was supposed to take from it. But I've had conversations with a lot of people where they're like, yeah, they had yeast infections and they didn't do anything about it until it got so bad and the itching got so bad, before they were able to get the help that they needed. So I would say that, like, basically a lot of women need better understanding of their bodies, and that would help them to know when things are off, and will help them care enough about the body to get things like HPV vaccine, or just get help when it comes to their reproductive health in general. The Stop HPV for Her campaign is about raising awareness around HPV and its link to cervical cancer. Moving forward, what's the one thing you do differently? What's the one thing I'll do differently? For me, I've always been a champion for women getting checked when it comes to their reproductive health. I don't say convinced, but I've spoken to a lot of friends, and that's resulted in them getting, the birth control that they need, or and I've also shared on my social media, on my YouTube, about my IUD journey, my journey with getting pap smears, my journey with just getting, HPV vaccine and everything. I've shared my journey before, and I will say that I'll continue to share my journey. The only thing that maybe might be different is actually doing the work in-depthly. Maybe when I have opportunities to work with an organization that's going to schools and talking more with younger girls about this, that's what I would do differently. I'll be more hands-on when it comes to spreading this news. But for me, generally, in my own reproductive health, I feel like I've gotten to the place where I get more checks. I'm very aware of things. But I would help people in terms of speaking more about this, especially to the younger generation, and also encourage more women around me to also get checked, more women to get the vaccine, and also regular pap smears from time to time. Hi everyone, my name is Ibifubara, and I just had an amazing conversation about HPV vaccines, cervical cancer, and just the reproductive health of women. So I'm encouraging every woman out there to get the help that they need if they think something is going on with them, or just get checked. Generally, get the vaccine, everything that you need to make sure that you are okay down there, and follow the conversation on BellaNaija using the hashtag StopHPV for Her.